Hey Fruit Faces, I just want to talk with you guys today about the word athlete. I know that a lot of people, myself included, have used these labels on themselves over the years. Oh, I'm fit, or whatever you want to get to too. I'm gonna be slim, I'm gonna be fit, I'm gonna be this. But I really encourage people who are trying to hit any kind of weight loss or fitness goals to really just take that full step and start to consider yourself an athlete. If you watch any of my positive thinking types of law of attraction videos, I've got a whole playlist. Just did one before this. You'll know that I believe that what we tell ourselves and what we believe about ourselves is really important. And when we just, over the years, we've probably had a lot of negative labels that we put on ourselves and that we continue to think about ourselves, even if it's not overt, even if we're not like being really mean and saying, oh, you're a fatty, on the inside, we sometimes just have these underlying subconscious beliefs like, I'm just a little chunkier, I'm this and that, whatever it may look like for you. I'll always be skinny fat, or I'm just too skinny, or like whatever it is. We're all critical of our bodies. And it's really easy to get in that mindset of this is who I am, this is what it is, this is what, and even like if you are trying to be positive when you fight, sometimes we're fighting against these negatives. So when we're thinking of the negatives, it's not what we want to do. So again, if you've ever watched any of my positive thinking videos, it's all about creating the positive of what you want to hear. So you're not saying I'm no longer fat, you're saying I'm thin, or I'm healthy, or this and this and this. You're not saying I've lost this and this amount of pounds. You're saying, you're not focusing on the losing the fat. You're focusing on the new dress size or the new measurement or whatever. But for real, like all of these things are so arbitrary. And whenever you get into, okay, you're trying to lose weight. A lot of people go through these phases. Like in the morning they start out, or at the beginning of the week or the month or the year, they start out really strong. They get a lot of motivation and they hit some road bumps and then their motivation goes down. And so it's like, I think it's really what sticks with you is how you feel about yourself. And even when we're sitting here saying, and our goal is to lose this amount of pounds, or to hit this dress size, or to hit this waist size, or whatever it is, hit this amount of pounds. I'm now this amount of pounds. You're trying to do it, you're trying to get there, but then you're just not there. And then it's easy to go back and backslide and get over this. But whenever you are losing weight for the right ways, or when you're trying to get healthy for the right reasons, it really is healthier. And, freely and during Rider, and everybody was telling me this when I first started my journey 5 years ago, over 5 years ago now, with veganism. And I was like, I don't care, it's supposed to be this healthy lifestyle. Like, it's just a diet to me. That's what I was using. I was like, I'm going to get there no matter what. Right. So I just strongly disagree with this now. And I want to share with you guys, if we think of ourselves as athletes, let's say you're doing 5K to couch to 5K or whatever, like you're starting from the couch. You cannot even walk around the block. Like, I don't care. Think about yourself as a freaking athlete, because in order to be an athlete, you don't need to go to competitions. You don't need to run races, triathlons, whatever, Ironman. You don't need to do that to be considered an athlete. You don't need to be a certain BMI. You don't need to be a certain size or anything to be an athlete. An athlete simply means you compete in some types of sports. So we take all the whole range of sports out there, and it doesn't even have to be one. Compete against yourself. I cannot stress this enough. It helps us, especially as females. A lot of us have been born and raised to be competitive with each other. And it's just not, we need girl code. We need women being nice to each other, positive, pushing each other up. And in this day and age, especially, we can't be competing with other people. And competing with other people is such a letdown anyway. It's distracting. It's disservice to us, because we don't know where they are. We don't know what they're doing. We don't know if they're cheating. We don't know if they're starving. We don't know if they're on steroids. Like, you literally can't do this to yourself, because you'll end up, you could be doing the best progress that you could possibly be making. And guess what? Somebody else is making better progress because on the surface, because they're starving, because they're doing it in an unhealthy way, or they're doing drugs or whatever. So compete against yourself, but do it in an athletic way. Everybody needs to get on the sport mentality. Everybody needs to be doing cardio. I always say this, like, don't just be lifting all the time, which lifting is great. And after 30, 35 years old, you definitely need to be lifting some weights, but don't neglect your cardio, and just figure out how you can keep track, whether you have your Fitbits or you have this or that. Just keep going. Beat your last week, beat your last month, beat your last day, go for a streak. Like, however you want to do it, I really, really recommend this is the best, because then you're really motivated and you're not just focused on almost arbitrary numbers. I mean, I do believe that nutrition is tops, and if you have good nutrition, you will lose weight almost at the expense of no exercise. But I really feel like having a, full life, athletic, positive, healthy, active life, you really do need to stay active. And being active can actually negate a lot of, other parts of your diet that just aren't perfect. So it's very good to be holistic and come at it in this way. So again, you're not only thinking of your weight loss in healthy terms, because you're putting numbers on your walking or your running or your biking or exercise, again, however you want to stay motivated in that area. But it's also deeper than that, because in your mind, you are now an athlete. Do athletes starve themselves? No. Athletes do not starve themselves. They need fuel. So then you start to look at what's the best type of fuel. When you think about an athletic diet, you want to have a holistic, healthy, well-balanced diet, okay? This is just something that you can use to kind of get there and just get to that whole body stage. I like to say, when you think of yourself as a child, you're giving yourself enough rest, enough good healthy foods, including carbs, enough water, enough sleep, enough exercise, fresh air. These are all ways that we should be looking at ourselves. And I think observing ourselves as athletes is a really good way to do this. And again, you don't have to be super competitive competing against other people. Again, compete against yourself last year, last month, whatever. But whenever you think of yourself in this way, you'll start doing a lot of things differently. You might start dressing differently. You might start thinking differently. You might say, you know what, gosh darn it, I am an athlete, and I'm good enough to go to bed early. I'm good enough to stop drinking alcohol. I'm good enough to do this. And treat yourself right, because and again, this doesn't have to be crazy. Don't go crazy with it. Don't have outrageous goals. Just get a little bit better than you were, and you'll see improvements. I definitely am not a person who believes in over exercising. So yeah, there's a limit where you can probably, have too much, and that's where not necessarily doing more than yesterday, but just hitting a certain level and keeping track of it on a daily basis is nice. And I'm really liking those, like doing the calendar and then taking the emojis and putting on it like happy face or poop face, like if you do crappy that day, and just doing it that way, I think is really cool. So you can really strive for consistency. That's another thing. Athletes are usually very consistent. They have to stay, in training shape. They might have a little bit of an off season, but then just keep going. I mean, there's so many different things that you can apply to this, and that you can think about it. But I just feel like getting on that mentality rather than just being like, oh, I want to lose weight, I feel like is just so good on so many levels. Because even if losing weight is your main goal, all of the things that you're going to do by supporting yourself as a whole and being an athlete, going to sleep early, drinking enough water, all of these things will come into play naturally if you truly do see yourself as an athlete. So, and again, just like having your tennis shoes ready to go, like for a hike, just bringing them with you. You're an athlete, you do that. These are things that you do. You carry your gym bag with you. You carry water bottles. Like, what do athletes do versus people who are just trying to lose weight? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I think it can personally be really helpful. So let me know if you use it, if you have any thoughts. Again, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest. And of course, have lots of playlists here on YouTube, and have Klaireeberry.com, lots of scientific research about vegan